Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all having a great week. I'm looking a little crazy right now because half of my makeup is done. All of my face makeup is done, and I'm going to finish it up today with a face palette that is, to me, a potential dupe for one of my very favorite Charlotte Tilbury palettes. And this is her Instant Look in a Palette 5-minute face on the go, the Natural Beauty palette, and it looks like this, and it's beautiful. I've used it so much. It's $75. That is ridiculous, but it's so good. And the fact that it's so easy, you get 3 eyeshadows, a bronzer, a highlight, 2 blushes. You can do so much with this, and if you are not someone that wants drawers and drawers of makeup and you want something that you can grab and go travel with, or every day, kind of no fail, give you a great look with a great option of colors and textures, this is beautiful. So I have recommended this a lot of the time to many of my friends. Even though it has a high price tag, it is beautiful. The quality is wonderful, and I've never seen anything else like this. However, Flower Beauty just came out with a palette that to me almost looks identical to this one, and I got so excited. I have not put it on any part of my face. It is their full face palette, and it looks, that was the little plastic insert, it looks almost identical to the Charlotte Tilbury one. The setup is the same. You have your 3 eyeshadows here, 2 blushes, a bronzer, and a highlight. And the eyeshadows are not exactly the same, but it is a very similar shade range and option there. Colors very similar, same family, same tones, the 2 blushes. I have been very pleased with so many things from Flower Beauty, so I have high hopes for this. This is $16. This is $75. So I'm hoping that I can produce something on my face that to me is comparable to this. I will add some swatches later of like the bronzer and the highlight and the blushes and the eyeshadows that are similar, so that you can kind of see the difference in swatching. They do feel a little different, as I've kind of felt and played with, but again, I have not applied this, I have not put it on, so I'm going to do an eye look mini tutorial for you today, and then add my bronzer. I have some cream contour on, but no bronzer, my blush, and then the highlight, and we will see what happens. So I'm gonna scoot in a little bit and we will get to putting this on our face. Okay, I am scooched in a little bit. I hope that you can see me and see what I'm doing. If you see this light kind of going in and out, this is my mirror and it's on a sensor, so I hope that that's not too distracting. If you see it going in and out, fine-tuning things, people, I promise I will figure it out. We are gonna jump right into this, and I am gonna start with this one right here, this kind of sparkly champagne tone, and I'm gonna start with my MAC, I always forget the number of this little flat tip brush. It's all worn off. I'll have to figure it out. This is just my little MAC flat tip brush, and I'm gonna put it on there, and I'm gonna pack this all over my lid. And I'm gonna keep it below my crease. So far, that's really pretty. I like that. That's a really nice finish. That went on really well. It's got a nice sheen to it. It's not too chunky. It looks very nice. So next I'm going to move to this middle tone right here and put that in my crease. I'm using my MAC 224. Just a nice big fluffy brush. And I'm going to start on this outer corner of my crease and work it in. I love that color. That is a beautiful crease color. It was pigmented well. It blended out really nicely. It's not chalky. It's just the right creamy softness. I really like that. Now I'm going to go into this darker shade right here, and I'm going to start with my fingertip, and I'm going to pack it onto the outer edge to deepen up this outer corner some. And I do have a brush that I can blend it out with if I need to, but I'm going to start with my finger. That's very pigmented. Whoa. Alright, so I built up the outer edges where I like them. I'm going to go back in with my MAC Fluffy brush and just blend all that together. And another thing I do like to do whenever I finished, if I want to sharpen up and I got a little messy on the outer edges, I like to take my beauty sponge that I've been working with and just lightly clean that up. Now I'm going to go in with my Makeup Geek Defined Crease Brush. This is one of my very favorite brushes for under the lash line. And I'm going to take this middle color and work it under the lash line. I'm gonna go back into that sparkly shade with my finger and just pack on a tiny bit on my lid where I feel like it kind of rubbed away a little bit when I was blending, and that made a big difference. Look at that. I will say, playing with them, the Charlotte Tilbury does feel a little creamier, but these are performing beautifully and they do have a creaminess to them. It's not chalky or too powdery at all. Now I think I'm going to take this little Wet n Wild brush. It's just kind of a little flat tip brush. It doesn't have a style on it. It's $1, and this is my favorite brush for doing like a soft shadow liner on the top or the bottom. I have yet to find anything else that I like any better than this. This has been the best little brush, and it was $1. And I'm going to go right into this darker shade and put just a tiny bit on the outer corner on the top and bottom lash line, just to kind of intensify it a little bit. The only shade that I'm having any fallout with whatsoever is this kind of deeper chocolatey shade right here, but it's cleaning up really nicely. I've already done all of my foundation and powdered, so it's sweeping off very cleanly, and it's all been very, very minimal, so that is a definite plus. So that was a very quick, easy eye. I really like how it's turned out. I'm going to hop off camera and put on my mascara, and then I will be back to do my bronzer, my blush, and my highlight on camera and see how that performs. But so far, I am liking it. Okay, mascara's on, and I've scooted back just a little bit, and I'm going to now finish up the rest of my face. Again, I have some cream contour on, and then I powdered over it. I don't have anything else other than that on, no bronzers yet. And I'm gonna go into this one here, and this looks very, very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury one. They both have a little bit of more of that warm undertone and a little bit of shimmer to them. So that did a beautiful job of kind of warming up my skin It definitely is on the warmer side and has that very warmish undertone, kind of a reddish orange undertone. It's not too much, but it's definitely not a contour shade. It's just going to add some warmth and dimension to the face, but it blended out really well, and it looks very, very nice. I want to say that it may be a tad more on the warm side and the orange side than the Charlotte Tilbury one, but I'll have to get to the swatches to see for sure. Now I'm gonna get onto the blush, and the reason behind the two blushes, as far as in the original Charlotte Tilbury palette, is she uses what's called the swoosh and pop method. I think that's what it's called. Yes, the swish and pop, and it actually is printed in her palette. It's almost hard to read in mine because I've used it so much. And what that means is she likes to take the top shade, the deeper shade, and swish it kind of back towards the hairline, and then she takes a brighter shade and pops it on the apples of the cheek. You can of course blend the two together, but that is her method, the swish and pop, as far as adding multiple colors onto the face to add more dimension and make it look more, I guess, skin-like. And that is kind of the idea behind having the two colors. I am going to actually mix both of them, and this is a Morphe M500. And I'm going to apply to the apples and fan it back. I feel like the face powders are slightly drier than the shadows. The shadows were very creamy, but the face powder, the formula seems a little bit different. They're still performing well, but I am noticing that difference. So moving on to highlight. And the highlight in the Charlotte Tilbury palette is by no means like a blinding in-your-face highlight, but it is a beautiful, natural, like you just have the healthiest, most beautiful skin kind of highlight. How I've been applying my highlight lately is with my damp beauty sponge. And I'm going to go in right here. I kind of knock off the extra on the back of my hand and just place it right where I want it. So the highlight to me is very powdery and it's almost coming across white on my skin. And I'm going to switch over to my brush and see if that changes the application. This is my Morphe M510. Yes. Okay, so a brush is the way to do it with this one. Something about picking it up with the sponge was making it almost like a pressed powder, like a white pressed powder, but this is giving it a little more of a sheen. It's not blinding, but it's very, very pretty. It's by no means the most intense highlight ever, but it's nice. It's very, very nice. I'm gonna take just a touch of the highlight with my Morphe E36 brush and put it in my inner corner. I'm gonna add a little setting spray and we will be all finished. Okay, so here we are all finished. There are some definite differences in the performance and the texture, the way that these feel, but all in all, I do feel like this is a very pretty palette, especially for the price difference. $75 versus $16. I think that this is a really good option. I am seeing that the eyeshadow kind of blended out it blended out well, but it kind of blended away. So the more I kept blending it, it's kind of like it disappeared and I had to add a little bit more. The face powders feel a little drier. All in all, again, I think that this is the closest I have ever seen to the Charlotte Tilbury, and obviously in this same setup. I do feel like I prefer the Charlotte Tilbury quality and the performance, the pigmentation of those better. But if you are a girl on a budget, this is a good option. I'm not disappointed with how this turned out and how it looks. The application of the highlighter works much better with the brush, which is so funny to me because I've been loving using my damp sponge because it gives it more of that wet look, and that wasn't the case with this one. But you know, trial and error, you figure out what works for what products. And yeah, I feel like the blush, the bronzer, it all looks very nice. This is a great makeup look. I feel very pretty and put together, and I like this. Now I do want to do a few quick swatches for you of the shades that I feel like are very similar, as far as like the bronzer, this shimmer eyeshadow shade, the highlight, this chocolatey shade, so you can kind of see just a difference in how they swatch, and maybe that will be helpful also to kind of have a visual of the two there. I'm going to start with the shimmery eyeshadow shade. This one right here is the Charlotte Tilbury, and this one right here is the Flower Beauty. The more chocolatey, the deepest shade in both palettes. This is the Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the Flower Beauty. The bronzers, this one is the Charlotte Tilbury, and this one is the Flower Beauty. The blushes, I'm gonna do both of the top shades and both of the bottom shades side by side. So here are the two from the Charlotte Tilbury palette next to the two from the Flower Beauty palette. And then we have the highlighter, and this is the one from Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the one from Flower Beauty. So with all that being said, this concludes the comparison and the dupe of the Charlotte Tilbury face palette, and I do feel like it is a very fair dupe for that, because it is totally understandable that not everybody can budget or wants to budget a $75 face palette, but something like this now for $16 is so user-friendly and, you know, easy to grab and go and do, whether it's for your travel or for every day. It was a wonderful, wonderful idea of hers, and I like that now it is a much more budget-friendly and bank-friendly option here. There are some definite differences in the quality and the performance of the pigments and the shadows and the face powders, but this is a very, very nice palette, and I did enjoy it, and I'm very happy with how my makeup turned out. And I hope that you enjoyed the very quick and easy eye makeup tutorial. Simple stuff sometimes can look so pretty if you take your time, you blend it and build it up where you want it to. Absolutely knowing your products, you can definitely make things work, and I feel like this is an awesome product. I will say I will continue to use this one. This is by no means replaced this one. This one is amazing. The quality is top-notch and worth every bit of the $75 in my opinion. However, like I said, if $16 is just much more friendly to your wallet at this point, this is a great option because the setup and the ease of having all of that together is just so great. So a wonderful option here to a very luxury item in my opinion. I feel like 16 bucks, this is money well spent and can be utilized so well. I hope that all of you enjoyed this and that you're having a wonderful week. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see all of you in the next video.